Right, let's get into this. Hopefully my freaking microphone is working. I feel like I think Streamlabs like updated or something, and so everything was jacked up when I logged in tonight. Anyway, we've got some more StarCraft Underground, some more Brood War that we need to cast tonight. We're going to be continuing on with our Brood War tournament number 5, and we're going to be kind of following the path on the lower bracket. So all of the matches that we're going to be watching tonight are going to be matches from people that have lost and that they are fighting for their tournament life. And so this first series that we have is the Brood War Tournament 5 lower bracket round 2. So they have either lost in the second round and been knocked down, or they lost in the first round and then have worked their way up into the round 2. Then after that, we'll take the winner of that match and the loser of the upper bracket, kind of round 3, and we'll watch the series for the Brood War number 5 lower bracket round 3. And that's the match right before the lower bracket semifinals that then leads into the finals for this tournament. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. These are best of 3s. The first match that we're going to have is Javi versus Styx, and it's going to be on Radeon. So let's get after it. So if you're new to StarCraft Underground, make sure you crack a cold one and you buckle up and you are prepared to watch some nice amateur StarCraft. And we don't just have Brood War, but we also have StarCraft 2. And the cool thing about StarCraft Underground is there's always a tournament to sign up for. There's an internal ranking and promotion system, and you can play in as many tournaments as you want. In each tournament, whatever you're matched up, you have 1 week to accomplish that match. So it's really flexible for those with busy schedules. So let's go ahead and shift tab because these colors are rough. And take a look at our players. So up in the top right, we have Javi as our blue Terran. In the top left, we have our red Zerg. This is Styx. And both these players are fighting for their tournament life here in Brood War Tournament number 5. Now on Radeon, some things to note. Some eggs here at the natural choke. Eggs are annoying. They're destructible, but they do mess with the AI a good amount. It is a 4-player map. Each of the corners are spawns. And then when it comes to some key terrain, some of the key terrain on Radeon is really controlling this choke, this intersection between the natural and kind of the third base that has a gas, right? There's no third base that's just minerals on this base either. So just something to note. And then this bridge. So a lot of the fights you'll see will take place here and here on either side, depending on who gains the initiative. Now, let's go ahead and kill the map. Let's get back into it. We do have an Overlord heading over from Styx towards the top right, and we'll be able to scout Javi pretty early. And this is, if it gets over there in time and Styx is able to get some vision on where Javi's at, then this could be dangerous when it comes to Mutalisk play. This is a horizontal spawn. Each player kind of left to right of one another, and that is a shorter flight distance, right? So this does set up for mid-late game drop play for the Terran, but it also means that there's increased risk from Mutalisk damage earlier than usual if you were to spawn in the bottom left or bottom right or something like that. All right, so SCV is heading out into the top left, is going to get a confirm on Styx's location. He's going to be able to see that there is an expansion, and there's a relatively early gas in the spawning pool going down. I always forget to check, but the production tab was up here, so if you were a Zerg player and curious if this was an overpool or a spawning pool first, you'll be able to see all that as you were watching, but I always forget to catch it by the time we're at this point. Does look like Javi's just kind of poking around, making sure there's no crazy, I don't know, secret hatchery or something over here, hidden lings, anything like that. It's a little early for there to be anything of that sort, especially after seeing this hatchery go down. But it's not terribly uncommon a little bit later in the game for Zerg to put a hatchery kind of like down here so that a scan can't hit it and you can hide some tech. All right, so the spawning pool is finishing up for Styx. Javi is going into a gasless expand. He decided to build his supply depot and barracks up on the high ground. Not terribly uncommon to use those initial buildings to get an initial wall. We'll have to see if that pays off for Javi, or if that increases the risk of some early damage. So Styx gets a couple of lings out. Not uncommon for them to make about 4 right in the beginning of the match. He's going to be able to chase around this SCV for a good while, finally kill it. But the SCV is going to get in here, and he's going to notice the lair. And so the lair is another strong indicator that Mutalisk play is likely going to be coming up. Now, of course, he could switch it up and go Hydra Den with the lair and go into Lurkers once this SCV is killed. A little bit of a mind game there. But I would put money on seeing some Hydralisk pop out. Not Hydralisk, Mutalisk. Marine count is continuing to grow. We're getting a second barracks. The gas has finally been constructed, and we have an academy going down. So we're going to be seeing that stim come online very, very quickly. We'll see if he puts an engineering bay down shortly after that for not only the +1, but also for turret construction. And we have a second gas and the spire going down. So indeed, we are going to have some Mutalisks and some Zerglings just poking out to the front, keeping our Terran player honest, making sure that he's staying at home where he needs to be. All right, looks like we've got about 10 Marines out on the field, only 3 Zerglings here, a drone heading down south. We're probably going to see the third base being brought up either in the main down here or in the natural, just guessing by the pathing here of the drone. And we have the spire about 80% done. Now with the first 2 medics, this is going to be the trigger for Javi to push out. It's not uncommon for the Terran player to get a couple more barracks, get like around 3 to 4 medics before the push. So this is going to be a little bit earlier than I think Styx may be prepared for. He's going for that 5-minute Marine medic push. There is 1 sunken that will be complete likely about the time they get there, especially if these Zerglings kind of slow it down a little bit. But the Spire only just finished. Now we have 6 Mutalisks coming up, but with Stim here, 1 sunken and 2 Zerglings isn't going to be enough for this. These Marines are going to plow right through this. Where are our Mutalisks? If they get out in time and with some good drone micro, we might be able to hold it for the Zerg, but this is looking a little rough. Ooh, 1 Mutalisk goes down right out of the egg. The Marines are coming in. They're killing drones left and right. Might snipe off this Spire. Now the Mutalisks are going to come in and start picking these off. Now, I don't know how... Oh, another one goes down. 3 more in production. 2 in the main. Looks like 1 down here in the natural. And that's going to be GG. Wow, real quick game. So 5-minute push off 2 barracks from Javi. Getting that stim, getting those medics, and having that, range was on the way, but no engineering bay upgrades as of yet. Was able to just walk right across and knock Styx out. Okay, so right now that does bring our series to 0-1 in favor of Javi. Let's go into game number 2. All right, this next game is going to be on Death Valley. I love watching games on this map. I hate playing on this map, and I'll show you why. So our red Zerg is down here in the bottom right. Hey, what's up, A-boy? Thanks for the follow. And our blue Terran is up here in the top left. Now, if you've watched this channel or if you've played Brood War at all recently, right, Death Valley is just a crazy-ass map. But it leaves open so much opportunity for creativity, and I feel like no game I watch on this is the same game twice. It is a 2-player map, so both players have confirmed identification of the location of where their opponent is, which always opens up opportunities for cheeses and stuff. But this map also has a whole litany of features that are, introduced a little bit a while ago, but really make this interesting. So we have the double assimilator kind of ramp to the natural up here on both sides. Now the assimilators, obviously, you can destroy, and the guys who's underneath can block ground movement. But the entire middle of this map is unpassable terrain, right? You have this, I don't know what that is, dinosaur tar pit. You've got cliffs. You've got this sweet piece of high ground I've never seen anything on ever. You've got another tar pit with another identical dinosaur. And down here, you have minerals blocking kind of the third base opportunity. Now, what this means is that all the expansions are down in the bottom half of the map, but the immediate access for both players is in the top half. Now, you might see glitches of drones or SCVs through this. You might see command centers floated down. You might see drops towards like this lower dead space on either side. that's a little bit tough for vision. Either way, it's a really cool map, really fun. Whoops, really fun to watch, but kind of tricky to have a decent game plan on. So what we're seeing from our Terran player is, again, supply depot barracks, yada yada, same old, but he's walling off here at the natural. So he is going for a play on taking his natural. And this is, I've seen many times where the Zerg will try to deny this and kind of force the fight down towards the mineral side. It's a little bit more of a clunky base to take early on. So Javi getting ahead of that, walling this off, trying to play a little bit standard, it looks like, early on. Zerg player doing the same, getting their expansion, spawning pool, gas. Another early gas, indicator of early layer, indicator of Mutalisk play potentially. And you'll probably see with these scouting patterns, you'll see this Overlord. I bet they'll park over here by those minerals just to keep an eye and make sure that the Terran is either not mining them or isn't glitching SCVs through. All right, spawning pool is up. We'll see how many Zerglings he makes. All right, looks like 1 egg of Zerglings. So pretty identical to last game so far. 2 Marines. SCVs coming down here. Yeah, this map is so fun. All right, so the SCV is going to confirm the layer timing again. Just like last game. These 3 Marines being used to kind of clog the hole up there on the top of the wall. Second barracks going down, and the refinery. All right, so far, really no deviation from the game before with regard to builds. The difference here, I would say, is the fact that last game happened, right? So, oh no, he might lose this Overlord. Solid pick there from Javi. Now, Javi, I think, saw this Overlord with his SCV earlier when he was down here. Or has just played this map enough to know that there's a pattern where the Overlord is likely to be in these 2 spots, if not hanging out by these minerals. And this SCV is still alive. So the SCV is going to come in here and spot the Spire. So we're rushing to Mutalisks. Now, unfortunately for Styx, he is supply blocked, so he's going to have to spend a little bit of extra money to get an additional Overlord that he didn't have to last game. Meanwhile, the Marine count is growing. The Academy is going down. We'll probably see Stim shortly upon that Academy's completion. And last game he did this all off of 2 barracks as well. The difference here is that last game he didn't go for a wall of any sort. He did it all in the main base. Zergling's going to come up here. Not see much. They're going to see the Marine count, but that's pretty normal. And he already had confirmation of that from the Overlord previously. But what I do like for Styx's position, like, he lost that Overlord, but he's been droning really heavily, right? So, like, there hasn't been a whole lot of Marine pressure. It looks like Javi, he has his 2 medics. He's got his control group of Marines, and he's just going to push straight across the map again. Now, again, looking at differences between the 2 games, this game, we have more Sunkens. All right, we have 3 Sunkens down. Spire's popped, and we've got no Mutalisks yet. The larva's there. All right, there's 2 Mutalisks, 4 Mutalisks in production. Now, this might be able to hold quite a bit better. It's a much narrower choke. He had all 3 of these essentially ready. It's drawing in a few Marines. Yeah, this push isn't going to go anywhere. And now I think the crackback is going to be pretty painful. We have 6 Mutalisks in production, plus 1 air weapons underway for our Zerg player. Now, Javi has repositioned his barracks up here, which is always fun. You know, it feels nice to do. It's easier to macro this way. You have easier access in and out of your base. Sometimes people will throw a bunker down here or something. We've got turrets going down, so the engineering bay has been made, and we've got Marine range going up. So it looks like these SCVs, I don't think they're... Are they going to glitch? Interesting timing for the glitch. I actually expected them to come down here and make turrets. So the Mutalisks are going to see this, and they're going to pick these SCVs off. Probably get a free fire bat for it, too. Does get the fire bat, gets 2 of those SCVs. A little bit painful for Javi. That was just kind of a quick catch out of position there. But that natural is definitely pretty safe from the Mutalisks, and he's using the Marines up here to cover the main and the production. Okay, so he's going factory. I imagine this is going to primarily be used to get to starport tech. Start getting science vessels out, get the irradiates out. And if we look over here, we just missed it, but we did see a glitch for the drone, right? So he pushed a drone through these minerals, and he's getting his third base here. Very common for Zerg players. Sometimes you'll see them mine it out so they can better defend it, right? It does look like we have that going on as well. And these Mutalisks, I like that they're hitting from this angle because it's both denying this and it's forcing the army for Javi to hang out down here in this dead space. Now, he'll get these turrets up, right? And it'll eventually push these mutas away, but the mutas are going to deny it at least once or twice. Okay, he does get one turret down. Mutalisk count is growing. We're up at 10. I think it takes 6 to one-shot an SCV. Additional Mutalisk coming out. Now, we do have +1 on the way for our Terran. Ooh, losing a Mutalisk there. Doesn't feel good, but there's a couple that are showing up from the main. Good, he's just dogging this army right now. Staying away from that turret. Still taking quite a bit of damage, but slowly degrading that Marine force. And most importantly, keeping them at home. Right? Like, one of the biggest ways to fight Mutalisks screwing with your base is to move out and force them to go home. And Javi's not in a position where he's able to do that right now. Okay, so the factory was put down, right? And now we're seeing double starport being built in the main. Now the turrets are doing a ton of damage here to those Mutalisks. They got to get out of there. They do fly back. Not sure if they spotted these starports. And an armory. Interesting. Ooh, now seeing the starports getting on top of them, denying one, or delaying one. One of them going up. He's going to lift that, probably get it to a safer location. Yeah, move it closer to the turret. All right, let's go ahead and check on our Zerg base. Still sitting on Spire, no Hydralisk Den as of yet. Getting an additional gas down at the third, has his second one up and saturated, and really pushing the Mutalisk count. Wouldn't be shocked if we saw this potentially transition into... Okay, so he does go Hydralisk Den. I was curious if he was going to maybe go Guardians. You know, with a map that's split the way this one is, and with the success he's been having with the air control, I think it could make sense. Might take a while. Oh man, he's getting so much damage here with these Mutalisks. Now the Marines are coming in, but they're just trickling. Without turret support, all of these SCVs are going to die, and he's going to get on top of these barracks. And that is not a good feeling. Now, what is building here? Okay, we have Valkyries. Valkyries are so good against Mutalisks. We don't have any Scourge out on the field that I've seen yet. But he's going to have to defend these, right? Like, one Valkyrie versus 10 Mutalisks isn't really the sole answer here. So this is kind of a scrappy situation for our Terran player. But he's definitely not out of it. All right, Valkyrie gets out. Valkyries are pretty tanky. Takes a lot of hits. But it's still up, and it's being escorted around by the Marines. Okay, cool. So, Zerg, officially denying this third base. Knows that he's keeping the Terran on 2. Terran is going to be moving these SCVs back up. Has 2 Valkyries. A third one on the way. That makes you feel pretty safe. But Javi is kind of hurting on the economic standpoint. Down to 25 SCVs to 29 drones. Not the most feel-good moment. Now, it does look like he has hatcheries rallied over here. There's some drones piling up. Diving on these turrets. That's a little painful when there's Valkyries also supporting. Coming in here. This is a little aggressive from Styx. Oh my gosh. That was a lot of Mutalisk damage there. Looked like the 4th of July going on. So we have the Queen's Nest. We're going up to Hive. We have the Hydralisk Den. We also have Lurker tech that was researched earlier. And we've got +1 armor coming up for the Bioforce. So it does look like Javi's going to continue with kind of the heavy bio play. There's the factory. I was wondering where that factory floated off to. And we do have Scourge on the field. So the Scourge here to kind of help fend off any Valkyries that kind of move out on the map. I don't think he's going to as of right now, but what he could do is try to go Overlord hunting. There's not many out on the field. It looks like Styx kind of brought them home. And it looks like Javi, you can see all these just dots popping up on the map, is looking to see how far behind he is economically. He's checking how many bases the Zerg has, with the assumption that he has these 3. I like these Mutalisks back here, because this is such an exploitable drop location. You see it a lot. There's a lot of games where the Terran will rush and get like tanks set up here, and then they start fairing things up there. Like I said, a lot of room for creativity on this map. Another piece of terrain that I forgot to mention, but I just want to point out, is there's this ring of elevated terrain that goes all the way up and around that connects both naturals. It's wild. It's very rarely used, but also a cool little bit. Okay, so we see a move out here on the northern portion of the map. A lot of Marines, not a whole lot of medic support. There's only 2 medics with this group, but a good amount of Valkyries. So he's going to be able to snipe this Overlord almost instantaneously. Might get a couple more. There's not a lot of Hydras here, but he does pull the Valkyries back. So a little bit of a supply block here for our Zerg player. The Terran has effectively broken their containment and is out on the map. And we have Hive Tech, Defiler Mound, Evo Chamber. We've got a Radiate being researched from our Terran player, so going up into Science Vessels, which is a must. All right, looks pretty stabilized. And I think with this force, I think Javi's going to be able to take a 3rd, and I imagine we'll probably see a 4th from Styx. But Styx doesn't have enough to really push through here, especially with, oh my gosh, these Mutalisks are so banged up, with just Mutalisks. He's going to need to mass up on Lurkers or get those Defilers and maybe some Zerglings or something. He is adding a macro hatchery, which is good. Increase his larva count, get that production up and running. I do like that Styx has a pretty healthy supply right now as well. And a pretty decent bank. He's getting consumption, or consume completed. He's getting some Defilers out. And so it looks like we're going to be seeing Defiler Lurker. And the Science Vessels are going to help a lot here. It's going to come down greatly to the effectiveness of the Irradiates. But we've got full double starport production going here. It does look like we're taking kind of the full long route of mining out these minerals. One of the things you can do is you can target down one of the patches as well to kind of get through a little bit quicker. And then come back and finish it up once you're through with your army and you have your expansion being built. So one of the mineral patches does go down. Mutalisks are going to come up here just in time to see it, but they're not going to be able to get anything done with it. The Scourge are being knocked out there. Right, this is, I feel like, the lull before the storm. Both players just powering up. So many Lurkers up here at the natural. Okay, now here's a big bio push coming down on the south side of the map. Most of the Lurkers are up here on the north, though, right? This looks like where the bulk of the Lurker force is, but we do have Lurkers, Hydralisks, Mutalisks, Defilers. We've got a nice, sophisticated army here, and Styx is going for a 4th base up here, which is a little bit of a tough base to keep. This one's kind of commonly the 4th base, because you kind of have that high ground. You've got these ramps that can choke things out. This one's a little bit tough, especially against Terran, where you have like this elevated space right here. You can just like park some tanks up here and be a real nuisance. All right, Valkyries are coming in, saying what's up to the Mutalisks. One of them goes down. Good to Radiate there. Kind of accidentally being separated from the group as they're flying around. And the Defilers are getting ready. Ooh, big Lurfer morph here. They're not going to be done in time, but these Lurkers might be able to provide some cover. Going to lose another Overlord. And here we go. Lurkers, ooh, they unburrowed, burrowed back down. Good Darkstorm. Okay. That all makes sense. Another Dark Swarm. A little overlapping, but he's going to be able to get all these Lurkers up in here, I think. Now, Javi able to irradiate one of the Defilers. It's just running off, screaming and crying. All right, these Lurkers are just going to do so much damage here. Now, he's going to lose these Mutalisks to the Valkyrie, but these Lurkers are just going to town on this Bioforce that's not being able to do anything to them. And now they're here a little bit sandwiched. Now those lurkers we saw up here, they have been repositioned. They're heading down here to the third base. And this Bioforce is going to be a little bit sandwiched. I don't know if there's a Defiler under here anymore. That might have been the one that was irradiated, but he's got another one coming up here. Now he's accidentally running it a little bit far, but doesn't get sniped. Oh, he ran it up to get a good Plague off. Holy crap. The whole Bioforce is just sitting there blinking red. Medic's working overtime. And the Zergling's running by. Looking to either cut off reinforcements or maybe do a backstab to this third base, which is just now going up, by the way. Ooh, we've got Ultras on the field. Ultra running in, getting irradiated, making it a Super Ultra. And it's just completely cleans up that, that Plagued army. Not sure why these aren't shooting. Yeah, there we go. Okay, a little bit of a scuffle up here. Nice fresh Bioforce that hasn't been plagued, being a little bit tankier than the one before. Here we go. We've got Hydralisk, Ling, Ultralisk. Ultralisk being irradiated. Might take out a couple of these Lings by accident with it. And this is pushing Javi all the way back to his third. Now this is a very healthy Science Vessel count, though. Alright, gets back to the rest of the army. The Marines are opening fire on these Ultralisks and Zerglings. They do go down. The Hydralisks are coming up. Good defense matrix. And all of those Hydralisks just get melted. Ooh, and he gets the Irradiate off on the Defiler. Okay, that counterattack kind of petered out a little quickly there for Zerg. But Zerg is still just pumping. Zerg has effectively taken 0 economic damage this whole game. Sitting at, what, 45 drones? With a greater supply than our Terran player. Lurkers covering pretty much every base. That's where a lot of the supply is. A couple batches of Zerglings sitting out here just watching out for a move out while he reinforces. Now, we do have a Valkyrie running around being annoying. A few Scourge up here might take care of it. He might want to save those for the Science Vessels, though. Good defense matrix again. Gosh, a good defense matrix can get so much work done. Alright, Lurkers, some of them getting underneath this Dark Swarm are just murdering these Marines. Oh my gosh, huge plagues going off. This looks like a dead base. You get Dark Shroud, Dark Cloud, whatever the heck it's called down. Get the Ultralisk in the Lurkers up here. And there's just so little that the Terran player can do. Look at all these irradiated Ultralisks. Just crushing through the Terran. Great spot, too. I wish that there was another Defiler up here as well. Get another orange cloud up here on the ramp and start being able to push up into the main. Now he's going to need to lift this off, but there's too many things queued. It's going to get knocked out. And Javi throws in the GG. We're at a 1-1 series in this best of 3. That was a great game. And you can just see why Death Valley is just so much fun to watch. So much fun to watch. So miserable to play on. Very highly vetoed map. Alright, that does mean we have a game 3, ladies and gentlemen. Moving into game 3, we've got Javi versus Styx on whatever this map is. What is this? Fighting Spirit? Alright, 4-player map. We have our red Zerg, Styx, in the top right. We've got our blue Terran, Javi, in the top left. Both of these players fighting for their tournament life. One more game will decide if they're out of this tournament or not. Some of the things to note on this map, this bridge. Very, very, very key terrain. It really, this is a tight pathway here to the natural third base. And this can be very heavily exploited, but it can also be very heavily defended by these bridges. Middle, ton of resources. Really comes into play in the super uber late game. But yeah, that's about it. And some of the things that we were talking about early on with the other maps apply here as well, right? So the horizontal spawns really open up opportunity for air to be a big problem. Right? Mutalisk play, drop play, etc. We'll see how everything goes. So we have spawning pool. And we'll get to the Overlord. So we did actually get to see the Zerg build at the early point this time. Oh, there it is. I was like, where's the thing? Okay, so we do have Javi building a wall again. Okay, which is one difference from game 1. But so far, it's identical to game 2. We have the drone heading out for some scouting. We've got the Overlord heading down to the bottom right. It's like a scouting SCV. Yep. Sees the drone. Indicator that the Zerg player's in the top right. It looks like he's heading that way anyway. So we'll have first destination scouts for both players. Drone's being a pain in the ass to this SCV. We got his buddy coming down here to help him out. And the drone's going to run up here in the main. And what are they going to see in the main? They're going to see no gas still. Saw that SCV come down. On the way out, he'll probably confirm whether or not there's a command center going down. But we also see more Zerglings than normal. So this SCV is also seeing it. We also don't have a gas, right? So we're not going to see an early layer like we have been. This looks like a little bit more heavy Zergling pressure. And yeah, the drone came out and saw that there was no CC as of yet. And these all these SCVs, which was a really good call by Javi, they're all here because that one SCV scouted this kind of train of Zerglings coming out. Now this is denying a good amount of mining time. He's getting a couple SCVs for his troubles. And then we have the expansion going down for Javi. So we do have the gas finally built for Styx, and the hatchery is coming up in the natural, still sitting on Zerglings, but we see Styx continuing to drone. So a little bit more aggressive than what we've seen from Styx, but definitely not all-inning with Zerglings or anything along those lines. And he's forcing these SCVs to just sit here for so long, which really adds up over time. Layer being built. CV's getting antsy. Javi has enough Marines. He's like, all right, go home, do something productive. Gets that second barracks up in the main. Gets the refinery. If everything goes as we've seen, we'll probably see the academy and potentially engineering bay after that. Ooh, much earlier move out than normal. So we've seen Javi do 5-minute pushes with 2 medics. That's kind of been his go-to. This is forcing a creep colony. And Styx is running the Zerglings around. Now he's not going to be able to get anything done here, I don't think. There's only 3 Zerglings to 2 Marines, a third one about to pop out. But the Marines are going to come up here, and they might actually get some work done. Oh, he retargets to the Zerglings. Oh no, I think he could have taken that. I think he could have taken that. Okay, not sure how that happened. Okay, the Zerglings do get cleaned up from the Marine that came from the second barracks. Academy is going down. We have more Zerglings being built by Styx, but we do also have the Spire under production. So we're on the clock against Mutalisks. A little bit more of a slugfest this time. Okay, now we have the third hatchery going down, but this time it's in the main. So Styx is playing a little bit conservatively, not sending it out to some random base or this third base, but opting to keep everything a little bit closer to home. All right, there's the engineering bay. I think that's had a good timing. By the time this Spire is done and the Mutalisks pop out, he should be able to have some turrets up. We're starting to see medic production. Stim is almost completed, and we have a ComSat going down. That'll confirm the tech. I imagine he'll use that on the main over here. All right, so now he's got his 2 medics. He's got his Marines. This is his typical 5-minute push coming out at 6 because of the aggression that we saw from Styx. Now, last game we saw 3 creep colonies. This game we're seeing 2. Or sunken colonies, rather. And the 3rd hatchery is popped. So now we've got 6 Mutalisks coming out. How are we looking on defense? Okay, the turrets should be up by the time the Mutalisks get here, just in time. Looks like he's got 2 at the main, 2 at production, 2 at the natural. So pretty good ring, especially with the Marines coming home. So he didn't actually commit with that push. Now the first little batch of Mutalisks, there's only 4, not enough to one-shot an SCV. He'll catch maybe a couple here in the open. Ooh, he runs into both these turrets though. Then he runs into both these ones. Taking a little bit of damage here. Good placement too. Really providing full coverage of all of his buildings. Now we've got +1 and Marine range on the way for our turn. And I don't think the Mutalisks are going to do much, but I think that's okay. I think the Mutalisks here, their main purpose is to keep this army at home for as long as possible. Okay. Some opportunity here to get some free supply depots. Nice. Free pick does supply block our Terran player. You can see all the lights go out here in the the barracks. Not being able to really produce much right now. Alright, he's coming in, getting a couple SCV kills. That's fine. Mutile Harass is doing a little bit, but not a ton. We do have a Hydralisk Den with Lurker Tech being upgraded. And he's continuing to drone behind this. Styx has been doing really, really well as a Zerg player on maintaining a high drone count. Not getting too tunnel vision into his attacks. Alright, Mutalisk numbers are growing. They're kind of scouting around the south side of the map. Now, there was something here. I don't know if it was a Zergling or maybe I'm hallucinating. I thought there was something red on the map. And maybe there was, because the Mutalisks are coming back. Now, I also think we might have saw a scan go down. Okay. Yeah, so he's scanning the natural. He scanned down here to see if that 3rd was taken. Ooh, Mutalisk pulling the army down south. Right now, I think Javi, if he wants to go anywhere, he wants to go to the natural. He wants to pull these Mutalisks home to defend. The Mutalisks are going to come in here. Now, there's 3 turrets just sitting right there. It's going to take a lot of damage. Sitting at 11 Mutalisks. Takes down the first turret. Is he going to go in for the second? He does. He dives on it. Kills it. There's another one here in the mineral line that is getting shots off. He kills the SCV. And he's kind of playing around over here at the natural, too. Ooh, 2 turrets getting some shots off in addition to some Marines. These Mutalisks are taking a ton of damage. Bringing down the factory to get in the way of some of the targeting. And the Mutalisks are going to back off for now. And they're doing so because there's a huge bio push coming in here. But with that many lurkers, they're not getting in. That's impossible. And the lurkers are going to start pushing out. Okay. Where's he going? He's going to go up here. Okay, it looks like he may be trying to secure this base for an expansion. Uh-oh. Cool. These lurkers just run right up. Don't get much done, but they do gain a little bit of space. Zergling's going to knock out the fire bat. And Styx is just, you know, spreading out across the map, taking map control. Now, unfortunately, these lurkers caught a little bit out of position. That scan is still active. Oh, those 3 lurkers do get cleaned up. But he's going around this army. He's cutting it off from any reinforcements. And with this many lurkers and the scans have been used, I don't even think he has a scan available at the moment. Able to do a huge amount of damage to that ball. And we've got a bunch of Zerglings following up. This is looking very scary for Javi. Oh my goodness, 5 lurkers stopping here. Now the Mutalisks, I don't think they need to be in here engaging right now, but they are taking down some of these turrets and doing a lot of damage to these SCVs. Zerglings coming in from behind are going to clean up these medics that were with that original army. And this natural doesn't stand a chance. Now what do we got going on up here? We got 3 barracks, we got 2 starport, we got the science vessels on the way. I imagine a radiate has been researched, but it's just not enough, and that's it. Javi goes down. Styx wins the series 2-1. That was a fun series. I like TVZ. Okay, well, congratulations to Styx. That is, what was that? That was Brood War Tournament 5, lower bracket, round number 2. Now we've got another series I want to cast. So don't go away just yet. We have the next round.